Hello, welcome to our broadcast. I want to say it's a pleasure being on your radio tonight. We're looking forward to a splendid time together. As we speak, we are expecting to have a couple of our friends on tonight, but if they are not available, it's going to be I alone on tonight. So I want to say hi and welcome. All right. All right, so let's get started. Tonight, we want to say this is the Melting Pot. Welcome to the Melting Pot, our program where we discuss matters pertaining to Liberia. And we discuss matters pertaining to Liberia so that we keep ourselves informed as to what is going on in our country. We want to make sure that all voices are heard. Today, I will be taking a couple of calls. If you will be interested in calling in today on the Melting Pot, I will give you a chance. The number is on the screen when the time comes. I will give you the chance. Just take down this number that is on the screen. It's WhatsApp 609-284-0546. I repeat that number again. If you are in Liberia, you want to participate, you can dial WhatsApp plus 609-284-0546, and you will be live on the Melting Pot. If you are in the United States, just dial 609-284-0546. So the Melting Pot comes on every Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday from 6 p.m. The USA time, the Eastern time, and then in Liberia by this time it's around 11 p.m. in the evening, in the night. And so we want to say you're welcome. And if you want to be a part of this show, I will open the lines, and then you can join us when the time comes. So just take down that number, and then you will be a part of the show. You can also comment while the show is going on. You can also comment, and then we will reflect your comment in our conversation. We want to say welcome again to the Melting Pot, a broadcast that discusses matters pertaining to Liberia, and we look into situations relative to what is obtained in our country. And don't forget, all right, we come on every Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. So what is up for discussion tonight? We have the USAID. The United States government has draw down on USAID, meaning they are trying to wrap up the USAID across the entire world. They want to close down the USAID. And so that has been trending in Liberia. We want to discuss the pros and the cons tonight. We want to look at some pros and the cons, right? So there are some Liberians who are concerned about what is happening when it comes to, say, USAID is going to be leaving Liberia. So what are the pros and what are the cons? All right, we'll be looking at that tonight just to put to give our people information. Information is very important to any nation. All right, so at least some of our people who are joining us right now on this live, please share the show. And those who may come on after this live is over, we say please share the show as well. Another thing we'll be looking at also will be the on the Melting Pot tonight will be the Ministry of Internal Affairs renovation stuff is another thing that is making headlines in Liberia. So yeah, we're trying to renovate in Liberia, and then so people are saying that some money is being allocated through the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Now it's called the Ministry of Rural Development, and over 400 plus $1,000, close to $500,000 to use it on renovation, not even construction, just renovation. It's expedient. Let's look into that tonight. Let's have that conversation. All right. Another thing we'll be taking into consideration tonight to look into is now it's making headlines in Liberia. Swakoko's suspension and subsequent LACC investigation will take a bite at that also. in our conversation tonight. And then also on for our conversation tonight, President Boyka made a recent statement where he said that Liberians in the diaspora, especially talking to to America, Liberians in America, should come home to develop the country. If it doesn't work for them, if they don't want to come home to develop the country, Donald Trump is waiting for them. Let's look at that statement. Let's look at the pros and the cons. Let's look at some of the things that are trending based on that statement. Right? And what can we say about that statement? And then last but not the least, we'll look at the central bank issue. There's an issue with the Central Bank of Liberia where Aloysius Talu, the former bank governor, was suspended by President Boyka because based on an audit report that came up, and then he put an acting there, Samoa, and then later on Samoa got confirmed recently to that position. But then we find out that those suspended individuals, former governors, were given money from the back door. All right, and want to look at that. The reason we have these conversations as Liberians across the world and back home is because we want to understand, like, when these things are happening as Liberians, what do we make of it? Can we be a part of the conversation? Can we discuss the issue? Because in discussing the issue, we make ourselves part of the development process of our country. Whatever happens in Liberia affects all of us. Whether you're living in Liberia or you're living outside Liberia, whether you're going back and forth like some of us, once anything that happens in Liberia affects the country, it affects all of us because somewhere or the other we are tied to Liberia. So no one can tell you, say, whatever is happening in Liberia, don't put your mouth in our business. It's everybody's business, right? It's everybody's business. So we as Liberians, home and abroad, across the world to begin with, we all must have a say in what happens in our country. And so we are giving ourselves the opportunity to be a part of that discussion. Let us be informed. When you are a nation and you are informed about what's happening in your country and you are part of that conversation, when something goes wrong, you are able to tell yourself, listen, I was part of that conversation, my voice was heard, and I was not silent when it happens. Because, some of us, our children, our grandchildren, our children will ask us tomorrow, father or dad or mom or uncle or nephew, you were in Liberia, you were living by that time. When these things were happening in the country, what were your contributions? What did you say concerning these things? How did you help your country? How did your participation in the discourse change anything? Or did it help the country in any way? So so as things happen in Liberia, let us be informed. I encourage you to be on this live or share this live. And let us discuss some matters pertaining to Liberia. So I said we're going to be discussing 6 major issues. And of those 6 major issues, we're going to be weighing in the pros and the cons, the trending issue, the trending conversation. And I will give you time to call in as well. And I'll put a number on again later on in the show. After we have the discussion going, some part in the show, I will give you time to call. The number to call on WhatsApp will be, if you're living in Liberia, you can dial 1-609-284-0546. You can store that number on your phone on WhatsApp, and then you have the chance to call when I open the lines, when I tell you that the lines are open for you to participate. And if you call, I will take your call, and then you express your view, right? Express your view. Whatever happens in our country, it is part of your own responsibility as Liberians to participate in what's happening in your country, right? So let us go into the conversation. Like I said, we'll be having. This is the melting pot, and what we do on the melting pot in our sustainable development think tank is that we raise trending issues that are happening in Liberia, and then we provide our view on those issues, right? And then we move on from there, knowing that our people, because everybody got people that listen to them, So some people listen to Spoon Talk, some people listen to the closing argument, some people listen to Class Reloaded. Wherever you're listening from, whatever platform you get connected to, you get the information from there. And some of you listen to the melting pot, or you listen to me, you follow me on social media. And so I'm providing you my own perspective on happenings in Liberia with the hope that you can get informed. And if you want to, you can participate by calling in, and the number will be on the screen later on, and you can participate in the show when I put the number up and say you can call. All right. So join us and let us have this conversation tonight. So if you're in Liberia, we come on every 11 p.m. for 1 hour. If you are in the US, we come on at 9, right? So let's go into this. So the first topic we want to discuss here tonight is every one of us are hearing, but USAID Liberia is closing. It's closing down. It's shutting down. So USAID in Liberia is shutting down. What does that mean for Liberia? So there are a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. Whether you are viewing on Facebook or on YouTube or on LinkedIn, particularly about Liberia, it affects USAID, US government closing down USAID, affects the USAID all around the world. So it's just not in Liberia, it's all around the world. So how does this impact Liberia? What do you need to be aware of? What do you need to know about the USAID closure? So there are a few things that you need to know about the USAID closure. So let us go into that quickly because we don't have time. Like I said, I want to be in the 1 hour range for this discussion. So now let us get the basic information here. Number one is that USAID, which stands for United States Agency for International Development, right? United States Agency for International Development. So which means they are the arm of the United Nations. About 60 years ago, they founded the USAID. The Kennedy, the former President Kennedy, established a USAID to coordinate international aid within America's foreign policy. So if America wants to give other countries money, instead of just giving it directly to the country, they give it to USAID, and USAID will coordinate all of the aid across the world that America wants to give to people. And then what they will do is that because they know a lot of countries are corrupt, like in Liberia, they will not just give the money directly to the government. So they will ask, and international NGOs in America and other parts of the world that are credible and say, okay, you know what, give us proposals. This is what we want to spend in Liberia. This number of dollars we want to spend in Liberia. Give us proposals. And then if your proposal passes and you meet our standard, we'll give you the money and then you implement for us in Liberia. Not only that, but they will also take institutions in Liberia to NGOs in Liberia, say, you know what, give us proposal and we'll train you, we'll give you our criteria. And then you write your proposal, and when you pass and you qualify our test for getting grant, we give you the money you implement in areas that we want you to implement, that we want to help the country with. Not only that, USAID also have its own direct involvement where they take on some particular areas of government needs in Liberia. Take some particular areas and they put money into it and look at it to see how it will go, but not giving it to Liberian government in cash, but they will fund certain programs that government Liberia spend on that program. They give government Liberia money back. You spend on the program and give your money back. So they want to see the results, then they give you the money, right? So so there are a couple of things we need to know. All right. Whenever you hear this argument about USAID leaving Liberia or leaving international stage when it comes to foreign aid, people argue there are two major arguments here. One of the argument is that, Africa as a whole, or even Liberia, people argue, they say, countries don't need aid, and, because of aid, which means free money, because of free money, a lot of the countries in Africa, are corrupt. And so people wrote books on those things. They say, look, aid does not develop country. Aid does not result into improving any country because the aid comes with demand and bottleneck and red tip. You can't do this, you can do this, you can't do that, you can do the other one. And even if they give you the money, it will come back after you and it will take a lot of money back from you. All right, granted. So they argue, they say, listen, aid is not good for Africa. And because of aid, African leaders become so corrupt, then they steal from the people. And then the small aid that they what they use to do work in the country, but then the real resources in the country, they exploit it, they steal the money. But is that argument true? Right? Yeah, to some degree it is true. Because of aid, a lot of times governments depend on a foreign country doing something for their own country. Then they use that now as a means to steal from their own country and do not use the resources and invest it wisely in their own country. But does that mean to say aid is not important? No, aid is very important. So what makes aid important? Just think about it this way. So you are an individual, right? Even in America, yes, some of us here, a lot of people in America, even though they are working, But if they want to get a up-to-date car, maybe you say 24, you want to rock 2025 car right now, or you want to live in a house that costs $200,000 or $300,000 or $500,000, or you want to own a $1 million home. A lot of Liberians own homes here over $250,000. In fact, matter of fact, some of the good homes here, minimum 300,000 up. Then you live in good homes. 300, 400,000 up, you live in good. But you're not carry physical cash and pay for this house, right? You take loan and then you pay that money back over time. So you sometimes you go, you see the car, you then they call it mortgage. When you take the loan, they call it mortgage. So you go, you see the car, you take the car, and then you pay car note, meaning you won't pay all the money now, you pay the money small. But what it does is that they help you to manage your little resources you have from your workplace. You manage your own money, and then you pay against these things small. It helps to relieve you of your financial burden. So in the same way, government around the world can also use aid, or sometimes they use loan, or sometimes they use credit to reduce the gap in the revenue collection and how they develop their country. So where the revenue is slow or the revenue is not sufficient, then aid comes to fill in that void. So let me give you some example of what I'm saying here. Israel, for instance, as rich as the Jews are, as rich as Israel is, Israel still get billions of dollars from America every year. When I say billions, I'm talking about $3-4 billion every year they get from America as aid to Israel. And yet the people get a lot of money. In America, the Jews are, if not the richest, are one of the richest people, one of the most richest group of people. I'm not an individual person, but as a group. And they control a lot of things that happen in America. All right. Now let's leave that. Look at Ethiopia, for example. Ethiopia receives over $1 billion in loan. Not loan, but from USAID, from US government. From US government, Ethiopia, one of the successful, yes, Ethiopia airline coming down, everybody happy. Ethiopia, who get an airline, a very developed African country, they still get about $1 billion in loan from America annually. Just 2003 alone, they got over $1 billion. Go to country like Egypt. Egypt got more than $3 billion from America alone, through foreign aid. So leave Egypt, leave Ethiopia, go to Nigeria. As rich as Nigeria is one of the richest countries in Africa right now as we speak. Nigeria also get money from Great Britain, their own former colonial master. Nigeria getting $17 million for this other project, getting $500+ million for the other project from England, from Great Britain through the Commonwealth. So it is, but the question we need to ask ourselves, yes, is it bad? I would say no. My argument is that no, it is not bad. But how you use your aid and does not mean to say you become irresponsible. So we need to understand that. So what are some of the things that aid's going to hurt in Liberia, right? Let us list some of the things so that you can understand what we're saying. So, I'm one of those who believe that even without the USAID, I'm not one of those who believe for political reasons we just say, Bouakai administration or President Bouakai's government should not get aid from America. No. If we are able to lobby, if we are able to talk to the American government, even though you said USAID will not be in Liberia no more, because they in fact they finished taking the name of that you said for on the headquarters, they closed the whole thing down. All right. So so we need aid. So whatever other means that US government is going to be taking now, new means to give money to foreign countries, I will still be one of those talking and saying, listen, Liberia needs help. Because no matter which country you are in this world, you need help. Even America, as we speak, the America I'm living in, America is the highest debtor to China. And most of the time when they're talking about passing budget in America, one of the arguments can be whether they should credit more money or they should reduce the credit that the debt they currently also. Even America needs credit to cover their own expenses as well. And they owe China plenty money. All right. So it or loan or whatever else that we need to improve our country is not in isolation. Other countries are doing the same thing. But this is what I would say for the purpose of education. This is what I would say. It is wrong for us to use aid so that then we don't pay attention to developing our own country by properly managing our resources. So corrupt politicians cannot be used as an excuse for us not to get aid. All right. So let us leave that argument. I think if we manage aid well and we alongside our natural resources, we manage both well, the two will complement each other, and we can do more for our country than to act like, as a country we can be an island. I hear another argument people gives, oh, if America ain't give it, we can run to China, we can run to Russia. No, there's something called geopolitics. In geopolitics, every country has their ally. And America, whether we like it or not as Liberians, America plays a major role in our body politics. America is our most traditional ally in the entire world. I hear Darius Dillon saying on Senator Dillon saying on radio, oh, from going forward now, any country that give money that the country will align with, and we're not going to be putting our hat in eggs in one basket. If China is out, they're not going to give us money we need to develop our country, we'll go with China. No, you can't do that. Every country. I'm not saying we can get assistance from China. I'm not saying we cannot get assistance from Russia. I'm not saying we cannot get assistance from any other country around the world. But you cannot downplay your foreign policy based on the allies that you have had for over 200 years until you can dash them over and run to a new ally and say, now you're my best partner and let's start working together. It doesn't work like that. International relations does not work like that. Geopolitics do not work. You need to rely on your, rest on what they call your reliable traditional partner. People that will not leave from behind easily. Now, some of us will think, oh, the way Donald Trump just got in power now and they just cut USA like this, USA funding to Liberia like this, so we mean America don't like Liberia. No. They got different political persuasion in America. They get the Democrats, they get the Republican. When the Democrats were in the White House these few days, nobody talk about cutting USA, right? Now it is the Republican in the White House right now, so that they got their own policies. When the Republicans move from there and Democrats go there, or another president, it could be even another Republican president. Maybe the mindset and the ideas about how they handle foreign aid might be totally different. So you can say because Donald Trump in power today and he has this kind of aggressive foreign policy on aid that affects Liberia, so we mean America hate Liberia. Dispel that notion. America does not hate Liberia. America does not have any bad intent or ill intent against Liberians, for that matter. Even the immigration policy here, they say, oh, they're sending some Liberians back who don't have paperwork. Well, when Joe Biden was in office, nobody did that to Liberians who did not have paperwork. Nobody went knocking on doors looking for them. No. So it is based on the current president in power that you see the foreign policy going the way it's going. So you cannot see geopolitics in that kind of small-mindedness and start costing America right now. And then when Donald Trump not there, but another president come there and then get Liberia money and start pressing them again. You gotta be consistent. In good times and bad times, you gotta be consistent. I'm not saying another thing is that I'm not saying Liberian leaders cannot start to plan on what to do to help cover the gap that USAID funding leaving, to cut down the burden on us because they're going to be losing money. No, I'm not saying that. Yes, we can go and scout for new opportunities, but we got to be very careful diplomatically how we play with geopolitics. It's very important. So let us say this. So there are a couple of things that are going to get hurt by USAID, either cutting off the money they got, cutting off the different programs, and I want to bring to your attention. Just so you know, so when someone asks you, so what are some of the things that are going to be hurt by this? Number one is our health system. USAID does not put money directly in the hands of government officials, but they fund our health system. And because of the money they spend in the health system through other partners in Liberia that they're operating through, because they want to get the money directly to the government, who they're operating through, our national budget. The President Barker can say, that put the small amount in national budget for health, maybe like the $50 million or $25 million or $10 million in the national budget for health to cover all the health issues in Liberia, which of course is not, it can't even do nothing. Nothing. But even though what we put in the budget for health is small, when USAID programs are operating, they help to reduce the burden that our money cannot cover. So health. And one of the key things that USAID has been doing for Liberia in the health sector is what they call the Central Medical Store, which means USAID has been helping Liberia to bring in medication, drugs that gets distributed, and they help to distribute those drugs across the country, especially in hard to reach areas. They distribute drugs across the country, in addition to what government Liberia herself can provide. So majority of the time, the minimum, I'm using the word minimum, the minimum that USAID USAID can do for Liberia, that small one they're doing for Liberia, that in their own $415 million budget every year for Liberia, $415 million budget for aid in Liberia that they will spend in that money on health, the one that will take out to spend on health. That small one is saying, even government Liberia not even able to add more drugs to it, so that by the time USAID drugs that they supply finish, government hospital, everybody going empty. They got to send you across the road to go buy drugs. So yes, it's going to hurt us. So if USAID, that hole that USAID were covering for us, that hole is now is going to be open. And they call that the Central Medical Store project in Liberia. That hole is going to be open. So let's pray that God will give us wisdom, our leaders wisdom, to find a way to cover that hole now that will be dug there. If that money is removed. Another thing that we take into consideration is that not only for that drug issue, but USAID train our health workers to provide training for our health workers. Ministry of Health just graduated about 26 health workers as I speak. I think it was last week. 26 health workers, right? But then while they were graduating them, they were announcing that that whole training program now is closed because, like I said, the money now has been pulled out. So what happens now to health worker training going forward, in addition to drugs in our public hospitals? Drug, USAID Central Medical Store going to go in a drain. So drugs going to be even more of an issue now, even though it was issue before, it's going to be worse issue now. Then health worker training now that USAID were pumping money in to train doctors, to train nurses, to train other people, health workers to compensate for government, to cover some of the whole government couldn't cover for training health workers. Now that today we are hearing from Ministry of Health, that training program now is cut off. That special training program through USAID now is going to be cut off. Not only that, USAID take part in other small NGOs that do other health issues that wash. What I say, wash education, other thing, clean drinking water, other thing. Those are going to get hurt. Another thing that's going to get hurt because of USAID is the media support. So what USAID has several programs that support journalists, for their training that they're talking. Yeah, you heard about Talking Drum Studio, one of the major programs abroad, like you will having elections, you having major health issues in Liberia. Yeah, the Talking Drum Studio. You heard that, right? Talking Drums, or there's a radio station in Liberia, the Star Radio. Those are directly funded by USAID. Now, without their funding, what is going to happen to Talking Drum Studio? What is going to happen to Star Radio? Those are major concerns, and those are areas that have been very educational. I remember during our going elections, 2003 election, those guys Talking Drum Studio guys were all over the country asking candidates, doing doing debate amongst candidates, so Liberian people can understand who they're about to vote for. All of that is going to be in jeopardy. In the education sector, the USAID also have money that they were spending in education. In fact, what I just heard, around $75 million or even was being spent by USAID, even just in education, to ensure that there were food, a feeding program for hungry children, so that they can pay attention to their school. The school feeding program that they were doing, special feeding program for schools. Going to cut off that. In some areas, going to cut off that. Some areas that they were developing infrastructure development for some schools, like renovation and things that they were putting money into, they're going to cut off that. So yeah, so education is going to be affected, And don't forget now, so the kind of money that USAID were putting into education, some of the concern was that they want to see, so that how they will check government Liberia, we want to see enrollment increase, especially for girls' children. We want to see enrollment increase, especially for early learning, like children who in from first grade, from how they call it, the early beginners, those who just starting all the way to sixth grade. We want to see that there should be more of them in school. And because we want that to happen, we feed them when they go into school. In some area where they don't have food, we feed them. So because of those interventions, and then when he get chair to sit down, we're getting small chairs and things like that. We're getting copybook, getting pencil. The kind of funding that they're doing through small NGO in Liberia. When they cut off out of that, what will happen? It will drop. Enrollments will drop. So it's going to hurt us. So those are things that gotta be worried about. How can government cover that? We're praying to see if government will be able to cover that. Another thing that's going to hurt us is what they call the Accountability and Voice Initiative. They call it LAVI in Liberia, funded by USAID. And what USAID was doing through this, that they were running programs, for stakeholders and partners to advocate for policy, for reform. And, like what you gotta say, the IMF just gave Liberia maybe $45 million because policy has improved. So that was some of the work that USAID were doing. They were pushing government, giving them money, strengthening policy, reform here, improving documents. So they were even giving Liberia money to the to LRA, giving Liberia money to LRA to improve on policy. Today, sadly, Elon Musk, who is Donald Trump, gave an office to call the Dodge, right? And for them, Dodge, Elon Musk is supposed to do what they call government efficiency, meaning looking through American government areas that they put spending money, and he's already spending the way they're spending it. And then he's making recommendations to cut them down, to cut the monies down. One of the monies that Elon Musk cut down today, just today, was $70 million that the American government was using to support LRA to make it strong to collect money for Liberia to support her budget. So you see, so the whole thing about USAID, they're laughing and playing fun of it and it's taking to be simple. It's not that simple. A lot that these people are doing in Liberia amounting to around $414 million every year. Just imagine, it's more than half our annual budget that they were squeezing in our country to help the government to balance all that money going. And we pray that all will not go, pray that someone will. So Elon Musk just mentioned, and he posted on his page on X, what he used to call Twitter before. The guy said, our government is giving Liberia $17 million to go help with tax policy strengthening. He said, who told us that good way to spend our taxpayer money to go get it? And he was saying at the very time that video were on Facebook, on other places, on our website, our executive mansion website, where President Boyka is having big dinner table spread out in front of him. Big dinner table, he said, because he received a president from Sierra Leone. He called all his ministers then, all his government officials then, they told him right now, in front of one big table, eating free food on the Liberian people, drinking beer, drinking wine. When the Liberian people can't even find food to eat, they cannot even pay their own light bill, water bill, that problem, landing, not stable, LEC struggling. Arico cut the wire from cut the line from Liberia, electricity from Liberia because they say we can't pay the bills and other kind of things. But then we get money to be doing other kind of things. Having birthday party, anniversary, riding private jet. I'm just told that President Boyka will be on private jet a few days again, going to Ethiopia. When he just coming from Tanzania. In the same area, this very same area, he's going back there again on another private jet. So the guy look at it. What that video was playing, what American executive mansion video was playing with President Boyka, they come in, had dinner. We're walking them, plate them on the table. The guy text, he said, seriously, who can be giving that kind of country called Liberia $17 million to go do tax policy reform and strengthening when they're misusing their own money? See that kind of thing? So yeah, so that money for policy strengthening, good governance, and other kind of thing, strengthening the rule of law, meaning the American government was spending on our judiciary, on the Supreme Court, they were spending on the various courts in our country to strengthen the judges. Even our Liberia Bar Association is heavily funded by USAID. The training that they go through, exercises, and the conferences, they will go international conference. USAID was sponsoring a lot of those things. All of the things are being cut down. And our government and our leaders are still not paying attention to see how serious these things are. But it's very serious. So let's move on to the next topic because of time. I want to move on to Francis Humanly. That go to Swakoko first. That go to Swakoko, right? So at the Noka, now let me give a little breakdown about Noka. All right. So I said this whole the melting pot. Welcome to the melting pot. Please share the show. The whole thing about the melting pot is that we help Liberians to understand what's obtaining in the country. What's obtaining in the country. And as we understand what's obtaining in the country, we as Liberians can contribute to the conversation, and it helps us to make decisions as people. And as our, like where I am now in America, like you can see me doing on Facebook a lot of time in other LinkedIn, other places. When I have things I want to say to Liberia, I read letter to the president, I read letter to the Supreme Court, I read letter to the legislature, I read letter to American embassy in Liberia. That how we do in this country in America here. When you feel something happen in the country, you don't like it, you can write your senator, you can write a representative. So when they go, then they can go discuss it for you, and then when they vote in the House of Senate or in Congress, right? Then they will vote based upon what the people saying to them to go and do. All right. So when we have any kind of conversation, it's for us to be aware so that you can tell your lawmakers, thank you for coming on for the please share the show. All right. You can tell your lawmaker and say, listen, this is what we want our country to be doing. Some of the things they are doing, we don't like it. All right, we don't like it. So those are some of the things we need to be doing. So let's look at the whole thing about Swakoko, right? So Swakoko is from Noka. So let's talk a little bit brief history about Noka. So Noka was established around President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's first term. All right, when she came in office in 2005, she was there up to 2012 and 13, right? So Ellen Johnson Sirleaf founded the National Oil Company of Liberia, the Noka. And the Noka was established because we were told that there were possibilities that we got oil in Liberia. You know, when they say oil, the way you can talk about the Arab people who get crude oil, where they put and take the oil, like the one in Nigeria, they go sell it for plenty of money, and then the country get rich. So they say, oh, it looks like Liberia got oil. So when we're told that it looks like Liberia got oil, Liberia went and did a study to find out where is the oil. So they said, you know what, y'all got oil. It is not on land. It's in the ocean, along the ocean area, in the ocean where Liberia, the ocean that the Atlantic Ocean that along Liberia there, what they call it, the beach, the coastal area. So they say along the beach in Liberia, they got oil in the water there. So Noka now, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf time, they did a study, and then they divided that whole area from coming from Cape Man, going all the way down to Maryland County. They divided all the areas that they felt that the water, the Atlantic Ocean that they felt that oil would be in. They divided area into black. So Noka now will make money according to the whole starting point. Noka was going to make money if we tell the person, it's possible oil in these areas that we black. So what we want you to do, if you get the capacity, you are able to come and look for oil in these areas here, then come. You can buy the right to come look for the oil. When you look for the oil, if the oil is there, then it's in your care now. You get a first preference. You will get a first right. You get a first right to make sure that that oil will be, dig out of the water and then sold. And then we get cut on it as a country. We get tax on it, and then we get commission. You take commission, then you take your profit, stuff like that. So people started running out to that because oil is a value commodity in the world for energy supply. So people started running to Liberia now to buy the blacks. So Liberia was saying no blacks. Sadly for us, our international partners, they are reporting and they say we're barely managing that whole process, how we're giving those blacks out. In fact, we gave one of those blacks out to a Nigerian man who was broke. We gave to him for small money. The man took it and sold it for plenty money, for millions. And he bought it for less, the millions that he made out of it, because people wanted to get caught from it personally. So Noka has always been this place where people run to and they take money from there because Ellen Johnson gave a poor son over Noka. Rabbi Sirleaf over Noka. Rabbi Sirleaf then just did all the kind of things. They got rich out of Noka, right? But I remember Ellen Johnson wanted ERBC while we were causing us, some also causing us back in the day. Ellen Johnson wanted ERBC. Oh, she didn't trust nobody beside her son. Then her son went and stole all Noka money. And to the point, it went to the point where Noka got so broke, they couldn't pay their own rent. So Noka is still trying to keep, there are few black, we still have not given up all the year because of the noise of international community. They say we're just trying to steal from our own country. We're not doing it properly. So some of the oil black was sitting down there. Nobody can touch because of the hala hala that will come from other day. Liberian men will say, this for Liberian audience. So when we in Liberia say hala hala, it means noise will come out of it. There will be agitation, public agitation. So because of that noise, some of the blacks were sitting down there. So right now, President, we are in trying to sell something, it brought noise. Look at them. Then now they're trying to sell something. They're trying to, in fact, they want to do what they call sesame in 3D, sesame assessment, and then 3D designing to get, kind of beautiful design of how you show where the oil is and other kind of thing. And they'll sell that same information again for people to still come and look for oil, right? So while Nokai is not bringing anything good for our country revenue, and even the later that is even bringing in somebody, we don't know the hair or the tail of those monies. Our sister Swakoko Dennis, former representative, now is executive director or chief executive director of Nokai, takes $75,000 to go buy cars, right? So then noise came up saying, $75,000 to buy cars is too much. So first of all, the noise was that, it was just for one car. And then if Ami Moda went and bought one car for $90,000 in President Bokar, and everybody made noise, President Bokar, they not support him, the party chairman came and talk. Excuse me, all kind of thing about him, and he had to resign. Then why should the other person buy a car for so and so? So the noise came up. Swakoko went and did a post, and then she had all kind of sarcastic remarks to make, right? So the board director came up. Instead of supporting Swakoko, according to President Bokar, we have not seen that board resolution. I have not seen that board resolution. I have not seen any platform that produced that board resolution. But President Bokar says we see board resolution, and because of the board resolution, he suspended her. She should turn everything over. So let's talk about the car issue, and then LACC now is going to investigate her. But again, how many times have LACC gone to investigate and they can come with no report? The lawmakers then, when they were trying to illegally remove Honorable Speaker J. Fanati Kofa, they were money changing hands to the point that some of the lawmakers went and collected the money physically so they can have proof and carry it to the LACC. Today, that report, nothing has come out of it. That's the reason why some of us argued before from the beginning. We say, listen, fighting corruption in Liberia is a good thing. Fighting corruption in Liberia is a good thing because corruption is a cancer in Liberia. Corruption is causing the hardship and the suffering of our people. Corruption is responsible for the hardship and the suffering of our people. So yes, it is good to fight corruption, but you cannot fight corruption by picking and choosing. For the country, now USAID is leaving. Our country needs all the money it can get from within and put it into good use so Liberian poor suffering can be reduced. But how do we reduce the suffering? When the president wants to pick and choose who he will prosecute for corruption, so that certain people get certain preferential treatment, or another group of people get certain preferential treatment. You can be hard on the other person. You don't want to be hard on the other person. So that look at Grisby. Grisby took $500,000 from NASCOM pensioners' money to buy cars before inauguration. Why does he still have a job in Liberia with serious about corruption? United Party chairman took over, I don't know what, 10,000, 7,000, 8,000, or how much $1,000? Inaugural money went into fiasco. Liberian men will say fiasco, no head, no accountability. The Internal Audit Agency, which is the Internal Audit Agency, did an audit of that inaugural fund. Today, no report on that inaugural fund. President Bokar came out and said, you know what happened? The inaugural committee did good, excellent job. You have to go, it finished. Nobody answered for that money from the inaugural fund that got squandered. And then Madam Family, the head of the inaugural committee, said she didn't have control over the budget. That people strong arm her and use the budget without her. Even that's why even water said we're not in it, we're not correctly served. The place was poorly prepared to the extent that the president had to faint without proper care. So what is going on? That's a question we're asking ourselves. Now let's leave that and go to let's take that further. Then at the same NOCA, we're talking about over $700 were in question with Jacob Akoli. NSCC went after that one again because Jacob Akoli probably is a relation. It has a relationship with President Booker as a nephew. Because they all from Lofa. That one went in the breeze. That $700,000 over more than $500,000 went in the breeze. It just went into slow way. Nobody can say nothing about it. And there are more. There are more. So while we're on that topic, so yeah, you know, I was saying the LTA issue. You know, why are we? You know, Liberia, for President Booker to be successful, Liberia has we as a country has to be honest with the fight against corruption. Honest. We cannot say because the person at UP Unity Party person, so we play left with them. When the person is not Unity Party person, when they talk about corruption, and we leave them. Look at Patrick Honda. Patrick Honda at the LTA with all the issue that came up. Why Patrick Honda still has a job? Why is the current LTA chairman still have a job with the corruption issue from the report, from the other report from LTA? Why does the chairman there still have a job? Why? Those are serious questions. So yeah, we see the attempt to fight corruption, but at the end of the day, what becomes of it? It takes us to the next point. Aloysius Talu, central bank governor. There's an audit that went on at the central bank. By that time, let's give you some background here. By that time, President Booker had just come into office. He's trying to put people into positions, right? So because he's trying to put people into positions, he wants to give people an opportunity to benefit from self-supporting him. So yeah, he went after 10 new people. He went after everybody just to get rid of people to get a job. Even the Supreme Court came up and said, listen, it's wrong. 10 new positions are protected by law. You can remove 10 new positions. People that you have removed, put them back in a position and let them be removed by cause. If you got come against them, charge them to court, let them go to court if they are guilty for their charges, then action can be taken based upon the act that put them into power. And President Booker was the one who was vice president when those acts was enacted into law. He signed those 10 new laws. So yes, constitutionally, the president got the right to appoint and dismiss, but yeah, he got to also respect the laws that he himself and the legislature passed. If you don't like the law, you repeal the law. That's why they got something called repealing the law in the House of Representatives and Senate in the legislature. If you don't like the laws that you passed yesterday, you can take the same law back and change it. They call it repeal. Amend the law. No. So he tried to get rid of 10 new officials by suspending them, only to find out that they went behind the door, behind closed door, and made agreements with these people, these 10 new officials that they fired a few times, wrongly fired, that the Supreme Court said was wrongly fired, and paid them off. Aloysius Talu, his document, his payoff document managed to surface. Meaning other poll documents, we see the other poll documents in here from the LTA, from other governors, from the central bank, the other places that they took 10 new position people from there. We have not seen it on the document, but fortunately, unfortunately for President Booker, former bank governor Aloysius Talu document came out as to President Booker paying him $300,000 plus, just not to go back to court. And the document go as far as saying, the document we sign in, we pay you the $300,000, we pay you because who want to go to court? Who want to waste time in court? In other words, we get case in the court. So take your case on court because you carry us to court to say that we wrongly move you. So take off from the court, saying we wrongly move you, take off from the court, but we won't give you the job back because we want to put our own nephew there, Samoa. We want to put our own nephew there, we want to put another Lothian there. So we put another Lothian there, another nephew there. So you can stay home. We'll pay you $300,000 for you to stay home. Then we're going to pay some more again, additional money to be the current bank governor. And our legislature Darius DeLon, others in the legislature, both in what they call it, the rescue mission people, then pass Samoa and confirm him to be central bank governor. So right now, Liberia paying central bank governor sitting in office and paying another central bank governor sitting at home. Probably say now in America, yeah, with foot on the chair, he lay by, he getting $300,000 every year, including his salary and his benefits. Then why we losing money from partners abroad? And we're traveling in plane, going here and there, in private plane, going here and there, begging for money. Then we're spending and losing money in the country on all kinds of foolish things. Isn't that sad for our country? Talking about losing money, let's talk about Honorable Francis Umane, the one who is the Minister for Ministry of Internal Affairs. Right now, the Ministry of Internal Affairs the act has been amended to read Ministry of Rural Development. Umane writes a contract with a company while Liberia looking for money. While we're going all around begging for money, while USAID winding down, tens of thousands of Liberians losing jobs because of that. USAID project across the country and across other partners that they employ through, and other NGOs they employ through, NGOs they employ through their own offices and their employees from Liberia, all of them, firing all the people, tens of thousands of Liberians losing their job because of USAID going. Umane writes a contract for a contractor to come and renovate his office. And to renovate his building, they opt to build a new office. They asked to build a new office building for Ministry of Internal Affairs. But to renovate his office, I'm not saying to build because we're doing decentralization, right? Right now, Liberia is doing decentralization. That is the reason why we have the Ministry of Internal Affairs now changing the name from Ministry of Internal Affairs to Ministry of Rural Development, right? So not only did he put in a construction company contract to say, okay, now we want to build offices, Ministry of Rural Development offices in all the 15 counties. No, that's why he said, just to renovate his already decent office. I would say decent because Man Eddie Johnson used that same place, West Side. You know where they get Ministry of Internal Affairs is between Foreign Affairs Ministry and the Executive Mansion, right between those yellow building. You see, it used to be yellow one the last time in Liberia, yellow building right in between them. The way Ministry of Internal Affairs is. Those building that building renovated by Man Eddie Johnson Salif. It was also brought up to another standard again by George Weah administration, right? I agree. Where and tear can happen, you need to renovate property, right? This minister, Umane, write a contract for a contractor. We're digging into who the contractor is and who is that contractor, the head of that company. Let's see the relationship to those who empower. We're looking into that. But for now, let's only look at the contract. They did the contract for renovation, just renovation of Francis Umane office, Minister Umane office, for $196,000. If you run it up, it has $197,000. 100. I said to renovate his office and extend it small. He said to extension of his office, a Liberian man who the country is struggling for money, who cannot even pay that kind of money to pay his own house or his own private office to his house. Take public money when the public looking for that money. Take the country money when the people cannot afford their own country in their own country. Take that money, $196,000 to renovate his office, and he didn't stop there. He said he get paid. He also get paid in one in a same compound, in two in a same compound. On the one building one, he said, then I want in a same contract, he put over $95,000 in a same contract to renovate building one. Then he go to building two, what do you call building two? And he spends not 100 and another $190 something thousand dollars to renovate building two. What are we doing to Liberia? So if you put it together, Minister Francis Umane is saying, Ministry of Finance, I'm sending you a contract to hire a construction company to spend $466 million. I'm not saying $1,000. I'm not saying, yeah, not million dollars. $466,000, almost $500,000 to renovate my office. $196,000 to renovate the other building I see across the street there. $95,000, and the other one I say now, that's $195,000. Who does that? Who does that? So why didn't we say? Why didn't he say we are using that money to renovate or to build or bring to standard the Ministry of Rural Development sub offices in the 15 counties, so that they are able to carry out the development work in the counties that we are now going to start to be doing? Why didn't you do that? Why would you want to spend it in Monrovia? You're doing decentralization, and then you take all the money that you're supposed to take to decentralize your work. You spend all in one spot, the same spot that you want to decentralize from. What sense does that make for our country, my people? What sense does that make? And that's why we say, Liberia, if we improve, we need to do our best. And then the last topic for tonight is what is going to happen now to the what we refer to as the War and Economic Crimes Code. What is going to happen to the War and Economic Crimes Code? What is going to happen to the War and Economic Crimes Code in the absence of Prince Wyatt Johnson, saying he has passed away? So there are a lot of arguments are going on. We don't have time now. We don't have a lot of time left. So I will open the lines. If you want to call, I will take 5 calls. If you want to call, I will take 5 calls. And I want to hear your views on the areas to talk about. But while I'm waiting for your call, then I'll be talking about this. I will take just let me just say maybe 5 minutes to take your calls, and I'll give 1 minute each, for your call. Right? 1 minute for your call. So if you want to call in, you can call in now with the number on the screen on WhatsApp. It's 609 284 0546. All right. 609 284 0546. If you want to call, you can call me on WhatsApp. So while I discuss this last topic, if you want to call, you can call me on WhatsApp on the number on the screen. And I will take it in 5 minutes and I will be closing, right? So Prince Johnson. So the issue here with Prince Johnson is that the late Prince Johnson has passed. He was one of the most dominant character in Liberia right now. We're talking about the War and Economic Crimes Code. So I will say something in simple English, right? So because Prince Johnson has passed away, does it mean to say now we don't need to have the War and Economic Crimes Code anymore? The answer is no. We still need the War and Economic Crimes Code. So that's why the current head of the secretariat, or the executive director for the secretariat of the War and Economic Crimes Code, the body that is working to make sure that we do all the groundwork to get the courts established, he came on air the other day. He said, listen, the court is still going to go on. We're still going to indict people. We're still going to go through the process as it is. Now, with your United States government, who's supposed to have been the biggest support to that project, backing off right now with the foreign aid, is that going to hurt us? Probably, maybe. We're not sure yet. Congress is going to be having a hearing on Liberia pretty soon. You're going to be hearing some different things that are happening in Liberia. Probably that will be part of the conversation that we'll be having. See if they can put money in the American budget for Liberia when it comes to the War and Economic Crimes Code, right? The Congress committee for that, they will be having a meeting pretty soon. But put that aside, in simple English, is there any example around the world where somebody is accused of war crime and the person died, and then you can still go and prosecute the person? Yes. You can still have a trial in the absence of somebody who has died. Still have a trial. It happened in several countries before, not only Liberia. All right. So yeah, it happened in several countries before. And I did an article on my page. You can go there, you can see the article. Yes, that has happened. All right. It happened after World War I, World War II stuff. People who committed some serious crimes, and especially from Germany. Yeah, they were, even though they were not living, but yeah, they were prosecuted. And so the thing about the court is that It's not only about the people who committed the crimes. It's about the people who suffer from the crimes committed. Some of them want answers. And the only way you can get answers is when people go to court, where witnesses can come up and can give testimonies to what happened. Because what the perpetrators will be saying will be different from what the witnesses will be saying. All right. And different from what investigation in the crimes will show. So there are more signs to it than just the people who committed the crime and maybe pass away. So there are more signs to it than just that. So yeah, so there's a possibility that if we get the funding, the case for war and economic crimes will still go on. And we want to say thanks to our partners and want to encourage our partners, whoever they are, the United Nations Human Rights Commission, and let them keep pushing. We need their support. The American government, especially for human rights and other issues. We pray Congress will not let us down. We'll bring the whole thing about war and economic crimes court and atrocities committed in Liberia during the past, and bring people to book for those things. All right. So yeah, so that's how I want to call it a night tonight. I want to say thank you for being there. It was a pleasure for you to have had me in your homes tonight, and I want to say thank you. Yeah, I know some of you are shy, you don't want to call, but yeah, in the future I will have 5 minutes. I'll open the lines, and if you want to be a part, you want to have a say in the conversation, yes, you can have a say, and I'll open the lines for you to have a say. So I want to say thank you again for being there, and it was a pleasure having you online tonight. And I want to say, if you are following me on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to build that channel. If you are looking at this broadcast through Facebook and you have YouTube, go there, look for Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. You will find my channel. Just subscribe, and I will say thank you. And I appreciate your support in those areas. If you're listening to me on LinkedIn, I will say thank you for listening. The point here is that this broadcast is primarily for Liberians and in back home in Liberia and abroad. So we try our best to speak in a way that will give us an opportunity to get our people to understand happenings across the country. All right, so I want to say it was a pleasure being in your homes again. And listen, Liberia is all we have. Liberia is all we have. Let us keep praying for our country, and let us keep doing what we can do best. As I leave you, there are some breaking news in Liberia that will be following up the next time we come on the melting pot. There are reports that there are three EPA soldiers, or three EPA personnel, I should say, three EPA personnel from the Liberian government right now under President Bouaka that died between just say between December and January, just between a short period of time in January, just January alone, 3 EPA officers has died. And what makes it a problem is that because they try to keep it away from the public glare, meaning they told the families of those people who died not to mention it to anybody, not to say anything about it. But the problem with that is that when you do things like that, then people become suspicious. All right, people become suspicious. So because the fact that 3 EPS soldiers die in short period of time like that, and you're telling the family member to keep it quiet, not to say anything about it, it makes it suspicious. And not only that, we are obtaining information that some of the death certificates are even showing that people don't know. So on the death certificate show, when they told the person, they said, no cause of death. They can't determine the cause of death. So then the whole thing now is that, then what happened? What went wrong? What really went wrong? People are asking questions. So we're going to be digging into that. And then the next time we are on this broadcast, we'll be bringing you more information on that. All right. And then the next time we're on here, we'll talk about President Bouaka statement about the Liberians in the diaspora. In a way, he said, hey, President Bouaka, please, man, please. Look, we're working, we're sending money down to family and to friends. We're sending money down there. That money that we're sending down to Liberia from in the diaspora, especially from America, that money that supported your campaign. Some of the monies that they're sending down there, I want to make your government, even if you can't employ everybody. Some people that are living because family must send them money. And Liberians spend millions of dollars sending it to Liberia every year, millions of dollars. That if they were not, that money were not coming in the country, there, it will be problem. President Parker, please, man. Please, learn to be very cautious and careful how you talk to the Liberian people, home and abroad, please. So yeah, I want to close on that note. I want to say it. So I will talk about that the next time we come on air. I want to say it was a pleasure having you. President Parker said, well, Liberians in abroad, Liberians in America, now that they're deporting some of your friends, if you can't be our country, anyone can just stay at Donald Trump, that God needs for Donald Trump there. In other words, Donald Trump will send us home. Mr. President, you can't do that. That's insensitive. I mean, that's undiplomatic. That's unpresidential. That shows no sympathy, no empathy for your citizens abroad. No matter what, your citizens are your citizens. There are better ways to communicate how you feel and think about them. There are some things you want to say you can't say because you are the people's president. You got to be able to find a diplomatic way to say it. Like somebody would say, you can't wash your dirty clothes in the street. Our parents used to tell us those kind of things. They say, listen, you can't dress the devil in a bag, and then you bring it in the public, and then you disgrace the devil there. Your citizens are your citizens. You got to be empathetic with them. You got to be right now. All you're supposed to be saying, Mr. President, is that my people, Liberians, you went out there to look for greener pasture. You were not able, you're not successful to have gotten the requisite paperwork and thing. Liberia is still your home. You can come home. Liberia is your home. So when you got skills, so when you have learned new skills, when you have learned new you're getting knowledge in different areas. There are things you can do to help your country. Come home and help your country. And Liberia is for all of us, and Liberia is here waiting for you. Those are the kind of things we should be saying, President. Be presidential. So on that note, I want to say thank you and for having me. And God bless all of us as we leave from here and go home. Those of you who may be at work, you are wherever you may be, I want to say have a wonderful time and God bless you. All right, and I'll be leaving you on that note. Have a wonderful time. I'll be leaving you on that note. Have a wonderful time.